I'm going to work through some problems from the Math 3 Unit 9 Worksheet 6, starting with number 1. Here we want to solve for x. To do this, we need to isolate a log on each side, and there can't be a number in front of a log. So we're going to use the properties of logs to get to that spot where each side is equal to a log of a base. So using the power property, we get log base 5 of 4 to the third is equal to log base 5 of 2x. So at this point, we can say, well, if the log base 5 of 4 to the third is equal to log base 5 of 2 to the x, then 4 to the third must equal 2 times x. 4 to the third is 64. Divide by 2 and you get x is 32. Number 5. We have one log on the left-hand side of the equation and 2 logs on the right-hand side. So we need to condense the right-hand side. Use the power property first. When you're condensing, the power property is what you want to look for first. And then I'm going to use the product property. Three squared is 9, and product property allows us to add logs by multiplying its components here. So now we have a log base 6 equal to another log base 6, so we set x equal to 9 times 5, so x is 45. Number 9. We need to condense the right side to one logarithm, so we work with the power property first. Nine to the 3 over 2 means the square root of 9 cubed. And the square root of 9 is 3, so this is 3 cubed, which is 27. And now we could use the product property, multiply the 27 and the 2 together. And so x is equal to 54. Number 13, I'm going to condense the left side by using the quotient property. And then I'm going to change it out of log form into exponential form. So the base is 2. The exponent is what the log is equal to, which is also 2. And that's equal to 52 over x. Sorry. So 2 squared is 4. So we get 4 over 1 is 52 over x. If we cross multiply, we get 4x is equal to 52. And divide both sides by 4, and we're going to get x is 52 over 4. 52 over 4 is 13. Number 17, We're going to use the power property. And then we're going to change it out of log form into exponential form. So 4 to the power of 3 is equal to x squared. 4 to the power of 3 is 64. And you take the square root. Now when you take the square root, it could be positive or negative. Square root of 64, which is positive or negative 8. But the domain of log is from 0 to infinity, so we can't use the negative 8, so we just are going to work with 8. Number 21, use the product property. Then use change it to exponential form. Two to the fourth is 16. I'm going to multiply out or distribute. It's quadratic, so set it equal to 0. And then factor this. Two numbers whose product is negative 16 and whose sum is negative 6. Negative 8 and positive 2. So this factors to x minus 8 and x plus 2. If you set your factors equal to 0 and solve, you get x is 8 and x is negative 2. We need to make sure these are acceptable values. If we plug x equals negative 2 back into the log base 2 of x, we'll be violating the domain, and so we have to throw that out. If we plug in x equals 8 into either of the logs, it works out fine. So we keep the x equals 8. Log base 6 of 9 plus log base 6 of 4 equals x. Use the product property. And then change it to exponential form. 6 to the power of x is equal to 9 times 4. Or 6 to the power of x is equal to 36. And so we get x is 2. We're to identify which step has the error. And so let's try to follow what's happening here. Looks like at first they're using the product property, which is correct. And they multiply 2 and 50 and get 100. Then they're dividing by 2, dividing the 100 by 2, and that's where we go wrong. So step 3 has an error because you cannot divide that 100 by 2. Instead, what they should have done is take the 2 and made it the power of x. And so we would have had log base 7 of x squared equals log base 7 of 100. Then drop the log and you get x squared is 100. Take the square root and you get x is positive or negative 10. But then we would have had to just keep the positive 10.